Hello and welcome back, or welcome in if this is your first time. And a special hello to anyone who has been hiking today. What is this? A special goodbye to that piece of hair. A special hello to anyone who... Oh my god, am I uncreative today? A special hello to anyone who wears ankle bracelets. I don't even know where to buy those, but good for you. And a special hello to anyone with a seashell collection. That's pretty cool. Today we're gonna look at homophobic TikToks because you guys love when I do these videos, so why not? It's Men's Mental Health Month, but hey, forget us. Pride Month is more important to most of you. This just in, you can make posts about Men's Mental Health Month without talking about queer people. You didn't have to mention Pride Month. You know what would have been a much better video with a lot more meaning that wouldn't get clowned? A video talking about the root causes of men's mental health issues. A video talking about the statistics. A video saying that men should be allowed to have emotions and that you do care. But you know what's not helping your case? Going to a different community and being like, I guess you just care more about them than me. Have you ever heard the saying, be the change you want to see? If this is something you feel passionately about, you can do it without turning around and being like, they shouldn't get the attention, and it's obvious that you guys care more about them. Which, by the way, this Pride Month has been a disaster, if you ask me. We have seen just how much people do not give a fuck, and it's been super depressing and sad. So, I don't know what your point was. You could make an entire page dedicated to talking about men's mental health issues. I care about LGBTQ+ issues, so I talk about them a lot. Hey, like I'm doing right now. So why don't you do that? I included this one because every year I see people basically talking about Pride Month and being like, well, why don't we talk about this other thing instead right now? And it's like, you're only saying that because you don't want to talk about gay people. I never hear more about men's mental health than when it's in regards to Pride Month specifically. And I mean that genuinely. It's a theme. Hi, editing me. Also, gay men exist. Pride is a lot about mental health within itself. I just feel like if you're gonna make a video being like, what about men's mental health? You shouldn't compare it to a group of people who face a lot of discrimination that directly affects their mental health. I mean, I'll throw up some statistics on the screen, but here are some mental health statistics for queer people. I'm all for everyone's mental health, but when you make a video directly trying to judge or take away from another community who also struggles with mental health at a disproportionate rate, it doesn't really click for me. Doesn't seem like a fair thing to say. Veterans get one day and they get a whole month. Again, just like we just talked about, which by the way, there are so many holidays that cater to veterans and the military. There are multiple months that reflect around it. There are multiple days that reflect around it. Here's that. So if you actually cared, why wouldn't you actually just talk about vets? If you actually cared, you think you'd make a video talking about how Donald Trump is doing so much disservices to vets right now in the US. If you actually cared, but you don't. Do you? You just don't like queer people, and so you use any excuse to act like you're like on a moral high ground being like, well, why don't we care about vets over queer people? Because that feels more important, doesn't it? No, you're just using it as an excuse to shit on queer people. Otherwise you would talk about vets more than when you just talk about queer people. Not to mention there are queer people in the military, unless you're thinking about how Trump just banned trans people from the military. That was a wild thing to do. What a crazy decision. I care about vets except when they are not exactly who I want them to be. That's what you mean.
I actually find this comment very interesting because it's these comments like this that basically are saying you can never change, which simply is not true. As a person, as a human, we are to change. God tells us to renew our mind. Now, if you're not a Christian, then honestly, I can't really speak on behalf of that. And it sounds like you don't believe in the Lord. But I do want to encourage you. And once an addict is not always an addict. Once an LGBTQ member doesn't always have to be an LGBTQ member. Someone who struggles with anger and gossip doesn't always have to struggle with that. And it is a choice to deny to yourself daily, pick up your cross and follow him, and renew your mind on a daily basis. But unfortunately, the LGBTQ community as a whole is very accepting and loving when you are going into it. But if you ever want to leave, they are not accepting and loving.
So first of all, being queer isn't a choice. That'll turn off in a second. If you've been attracted to women your whole life, You're not just gonna wake up one day and be like, I'm no longer attracted to women. At least not in a genuine sense. And if you do that, it's probably because people like you are influencing that decision, making them feel like they have no choice or no option other than to repent and become a part of your religion. So they do it out of fear. We're so back. Also, comparing being queer to addiction, wild take, man, wild take. I mean, addiction is a very, very sad, traumatic thing for so many people that they struggle with. And you're gonna take queer people wanting to be happy and live a life that is meaningful to people who are struggling with addiction? That's not very love thy neighbor of you. There are so many better things you could have used to make your point. It still would have been wrong because you can't just stop being queer. But to do that of all things is disgraceful. But like being queer, you might change your label, and that's fine. Change your label, I really don't care. But to sit here and be like, oh, people change. You can change. Stop being gay. Shows that you don't even know what you're talking about. And that makes sense because if it's not something you experience, of course, looking on the outside, you're gonna have all your opinions. But you have people telling you their experiences and being very honest and forthcoming with you about what it's like. You could go anywhere online and learn about people's experiences. Yet you just don't. You just think that you're correct and that everybody else who is feeling these things is wrong. Oh wait, is this a video by the same girl? You can actually be gay and Christian. I have lots of followers who are gay and Christian. That's fine. I know people who are gay and Christian. There's people named Christian that are gay. Sorry, stupid joke. No, but seriously, barring people from your faith because of something they can't change about themselves is ridiculous, especially because your Bible doesn't even really say that it's a sin. It's mistranslations. This has been shown so many times. There are also historical contexts that say that when they say man shall not lay with boy, it means pedophilia. And at the end of the day, who are you anyways to tell somebody what they can and can't be? If a gay person goes to church every Sunday and praises the Lord and shares their love and beliefs with the world, you're gonna sit there and tell them that they're not a Christian because they're gay? Who do you think you are?
I support Trump. I voted for him, okay? And I will always be happy that I voted for him rather than Kamala Harris. You support LGBTQ, though, right? Nope. What do you mean you don't support? I don't support it, yeah. I don't. And I don't have to. And I never will. And I never have, either. What if it's just a trend? People are following a trend. You know, after a while, trends die out, but this is the only trend that apparently won't die out. Do you think it's wrong to be? Yes, I do. Yep. I do. Literally, if God doesn't like it, I don't like it.
If God doesn't like it, I don't like it. Also, saying you would never regret your vote for Trump, yikes, this aged poorly. Unless you think that him bombing Iran without the support of Congress was a good thing, and now Iran has bombed a US military base in Qatar. You think that's a good thing? I know she probably does. That's like, I'm being so genuine when I'm like, I can't believe people think these are good things, and it's just, I have to remember, some people do. It's shocking. I'm at a point where I cannot believe people don't regret their vote. Like, obviously some people do, but I just can't believe that there are still people who don't. And there's so much more. There's so many things we've talked about in videos before that wow. I don't like it. Okay, and I don't like you. I think that you're stupid. And I mean that genuinely. This next video is US representatives. That's your context. US representatives.
I don't really care. You want penises in women's bathrooms, and I'm not going to have it.
Okay.
No, thank you.
It's
disgusting.
The gentlelady has used a phrase that is considered a slur in the LGBTQ community and the transgender community. And let me please finish without interruption. And
I don't really care. You want penises in women's bathrooms, and I'm not going to have it.
Okay.
No, thank you.
So we have representatives openly saying slurs, not interrupting to say slurs. This should disgust you. I don't care who you are or what side you're on. That should disgust you. That people are openly using slurs, hate speech, in that setting. I mean, in general, it should disgust you. Let me be clear there. But in this specific setting, that is beyond imaginable. Like, what? Also, the way she says, you want penises in women's bathrooms. People are more than their genitals. When will you learn that? When will people understand that? There is a whole human being up here. There is a whole brain and life and experience and thought processes, and you just boil it down to what's in somebody's pants and treat them like they're just that thing. It's absolutely disgusting. Here's a video of Donald Trump threatening to cut funding to the Maine government because they don't want to follow his transphobic rules.
But I understand Maine, is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one.
She won. If you weren't following, she's basically saying she doesn't agree with him trying to make trans people not eligible in women's sports. So he's using his position of power to then threaten the entire state of Maine by saying he will not give them federal funding as an entire state. You're gonna look me in the eye and tell me that man does not want to be a dictator. Threatening the entire fucking state of Maine's federal funding because he didn't like what she said, because he didn't like that she disagrees with him. It's bad, people. It's really bad.
I'm a gay conservative, and I just want to ask you, what do you have to say for people like me who kind of feel like, I guess, it's kind of hard for gay conservatives because there's not a lot of us. So, like, what do you have to say to other gay people who need to realize, like, they do have a choice?
Yeah, first of all, welcome to the conservative movement. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexual attractions.
No, I agree. I like
because that's not who you are.
I like to be thought of as a person, and
for sure, you are a complete human being, and I'm sure you treat people well, and you're studying something. So I want to get away with this idea that you're gay anything. I just think that we have gone a long way in the negative direction in this country, where we act as if the most important part of your identity is what you do in the bedroom. It doesn't mean that much to me, but if you ask from a perspective as a Christian, I don't agree with that lifestyle, but politics is about addition and multiplication. I imagine you agree with a lot of what we talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? Strong borders, strong country, and for that, we welcome you into the conservative movement.
Thank you.
He basically said, don't ask, don't tell. He basically said, we will happily use you as a pawn in the conservative movement, but we don't care about your identity because we don't want to hear it. I don't agree with your lifestyle. I don't like it. But hey, if you want to be a conservative, at least we can use you. That's what that video basically told me. The way that the kid's question very much had to do with the fact he was gay, right? And Charlie's first response is, don't introduce yourself as gay. The literal context was him being gay. So we immediately see Charlie being like, don't talk about being gay. Don't even bring it up. Despite it being the context of his question, which by the way, he didn't even answer his question. He literally said, don't talk about it, don't want to see it, don't agree with it. Anyways, thanks for joining the conservative movement. We're happy to have you. It's sad because you know that kid has probably been roped into the conservative movement because of his families and because of his peers. And he's definitely at an age where he can think for himself and get out of it. And I wish he would, because I did. And I never was conservative, let me be clear there. But I grew up in a conservative environment. I grew up in a conservative town. I grew up around conservative people. And I never was conservative because guess what? You can think for yourself and you can make that choice. But I also understand that I had different outlets. You know, I did have friends that I could talk openly with. I did have access to the internet. And I understand not everybody has that, right? So I'm trying to be less judgmental. But at that age, open your fucking eyes. Pay attention to what's happening. You just had a man tell you, you can fucking join our movement, but never talk about who you are again. Why would you say that to me? And you're gonna be like, oh my God, good point. Like, what? I also thought it was worth talking about how being queer is so much more than what you do in the bedroom. It's who you love, it's who you're friends with, it's who you marry, it's who you walk down the street with. It's not something that is strictly kept in the bedroom. I mean, yes, the word sexuality has sex in it, but that's not all it is. It's an entire identity. And yes, of course, that's not all somebody is, but it would be a lie to say that it doesn't affect and change certain aspects of people's lives. A lot of queer people have lost family members. A lot of queer people have parents that will not be going to their weddings. A lot of queer people do not feel safe even walking outside holding somebody's hand. But it's not all sex. It's not this sick perversion that some of y'all try to make it out to be, when in reality it's just people. It's just people, you and me. I feel like that makes you the real pervert. I think that makes you the real weirdo if when you hear the word gay or trans, the only thing you can think of is what those people do in the bedroom. I think that makes you the weird one here. Also, I know my bed's not made. I just got off a 9-hour shift. I've been up since 6 in the morning. Anyways, I'm gonna go finish dinner. All right, I'm gonna do one more because it's just bad. If you can't tell, that's a company selling Christian necklaces with Christian Bible verses in them by using fake transformations of Christ to market it. Where do I begin? First of all, the person in the clip at the beginning and the person in the clip at the end, 2 different people. There's also multiple different versions of the changed version of the guy. There's different people. It's not the same person is what I'm getting at. They're using a false story for this advertising, and they're basing it in the Christian faith to sell Christian-based necklaces, and they're using their homophobia to do it, and it'll work. Now you might say, Sybil, that's so fake. There's nobody that's gonna fall for that. Guess what the comments were? People congratulating him. Yep. People being like, you did it, you did that, good job. People fell for it. Oh my God. Like, if people are falling for that, the rise of AI is gonna truly be our downfall. I mean, it's already started, to be fair. I've already seen people falling for the most basic AI, where people are literally like losing sides of their face within the video, and people will still believe it. So, a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, huh? But hey, thanks for watching. If you like the video, like it. If you really like to, consider subscribing, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Chains that'll stop when the track is all up.